Meghan Markle has once again found herself at the centre of sensational headlines that claim she is angry, unsettled, or fearful about Prince Harry seeking so-called freedom. But when you slow down and really examine what is being said, and more importantly, who is saying it, a very different picture begins to emerge. This is not a story about a crumbling marriage or a duchess losing control. This is a familiar narrative designed to pit Meghan against Harry and to frame any normal moment of independence or reflection as a crisis. Let us start with the claim that Meghan has grown angrier each day. There is no direct quote from Meghan. There is no verified source. There is only an unnamed insider feeding a tabloid cycle that has repeatedly mischaracterized Meghan since the moment she entered the royal fold. Anger is an easy label to attach to a woman who dares to have boundaries, expectations, and standards, especially when that woman is Meghan Markle. The press has a long history of branding her emotions as excessive, dramatic, or threatening, while excusing the same emotions in others as strength or depth. The entire premise of this story hinges on a single comment, a tribute to Prince Harry, that time away did him a world of good. Somehow, this completely normal statement about rest, perspective and mental health is twisted into evidence of marital strain. In reality, Harry has been very open for years about the importance of stepping back, decompressing and protecting his mental well-being. He has spoken candidly about trauma, grief, and the lifelong impact of losing his mother in such a public and violent way. Time away does not mean time away from love, commitment, or responsibility. It means time to reset and breathe. What is striking is how this narrative ignores the broader context of Harry and Meghan's life. They are not a couple drifting apart. They are a couple who have built a business, a foundation, and a family under extraordinary pressure. They are parents raising young children while also navigating relentless media scrutiny, legal battles, and security concerns. In that context, taking occasional personal time is not a threat to marriage. It is a necessity for survival. The suggestion that Meghan does not see the need for a grown man to take time away from his family is particularly misleading. Meghan herself has always spoken about balance, wellness and self-care. She has advocated for mental health both publicly and privately. It makes no sense to portray her as someone who would deny her husband the space to recharge, especially given everything they have endured together. What this story does instead is project outdated stereotypes onto Meghan, casting her as controlling, demanding, or unsympathetic. The claim that Meghan is only okay with Harry being away once or twice a year is another example of manufactured precision. Tabloids often use specific numbers and frequencies to give the illusion of credibility. But again, there is no evidence, no quote, and no confirmation. What we do know from Harry's own words is that he values his role as a father deeply. He has repeatedly described fatherhood as healing, transformative, and grounding. The idea that he is suddenly running off or abandoning his family contradicts everything he has consistently shown. There is also an attempt here to weaponize Harry's friendships. The narrative suggests that he is using his friends as proof that spending time away is normal and acceptable. In reality, having friends who model healthy independence and self-reflection is a positive influence. Adult friendships are not a threat to marriage. They are part of a balanced life. Framing this as a point of conflict again serves only to imply that Meghan is unreasonable or insecure. One of the most telling lines in this entire story is the claim that Meghan worries Harry is venting about their marriage to his friends. This taps directly into a long-running trope that Meghan is paranoid or controlling. But consider the alternative explanation that any couple under public attack might feel protective of their private conversations. Wanting discretion does not equal fear. Wanting privacy does not equal instability. In fact, it shows maturity and respect for the sanctity of marriage. It is also important to note how the word unsettled is repeatedly used. This is a deliberate choice. It paints Meghan as emotionally unstable without ever providing proof. It allows readers to fill in the blanks with preconceived biases. This tactic has been used against Meghan countless times. From her facial expressions to her body language to her silence, everything is interpreted as evidence of turmoil. The story then shifts to Harry allegedly trying to improve his relationship with his father, while Meghan supposedly has zero interest in setting foot in England again. This framing is deeply unfair. Harry seeking reconciliation with his father is not a betrayal of his wife. It is a deeply personal journey tied to grief, identity and history. Meghan choosing not to return to a place where she experienced profound harm is not spiteful. It is self-protection. England represents very different things to Harry and Meghan. For Harry, it is home, family and unresolved pain. For Meghan, it is a place where she was relentlessly targeted, isolated and unsupported. Respecting those differences is not a sign of conflict. It is a sign of a healthy partnership that allows each person their own boundaries. The idea that these differing perspectives have led to fresh bickering and arguing is again based entirely on speculation. Every long-term marriage involves discussion, negotiation, and occasional disagreement. That does not mean the relationship is failing. It means it is real. What the tabloids often do is take normal marital dynamics and amplify them into crises when it comes to Meghan and Harry. What is missing from this narrative is Meghan's voice. We do not hear her perspective, her words, or her intentions. Instead, we are given a caricature shaped by anonymous sources and recycled talking points. This absence is not accidental. Meghan has learned through painful experience that speaking out often leads to further distortion. Silence becomes a form of self-preservation. It is also worth examining why stories like this appear when they do. Whenever Harry asserts independence, seeks healing, or challenges the status quo, there is often a parallel attempt to portray Meghan as the obstacle. This deflects attention away from the real issues Harry has raised about media intrusion, institutional failure and personal safety. By framing the problem as marital tension, the focus shifts away from accountability. Meghan and Harry's relationship has always threatened certain narratives. They are a love match, not a strategic alliance. They chose each other repeatedly, even when that choice came at great cost. They left behind titles, privilege, and proximity to power in order to protect their family. That is not the behavior of a couple on the brink. That is the behavior of a couple united by shared values. The media has long struggled with the idea that Meghan is not a passive figure. She is intelligent, articulate, and principled. She has opinions and boundaries. When she expresses concern, it is labelled anger. When she sets limits, it is labelled control. When she protects her family, it is labelled fear. This double standard is impossible to ignore. Harry's comment that time away did him a world of good should be seen for what it is. A man acknowledging the importance of mental health. A father recognizing that being the best parent sometimes means tending to your own well-being. A husband who understands that strength comes from balance, not burnout. Meghan supporting that does not diminish their bond. It strengthens it. The Sussexes have consistently emphasized partnership. They speak about teamwork, shared goals, and mutual respect. They appear together with warmth, ease, and genuine affection. Their public projects reflect alignment, not division. From Archewell to their advocacy work, there is a clear sense of unity. If there were truly deep cracks in their marriage, we would likely see contradictions in their actions, not just in tabloid headlines. Instead, we see consistency. We see them prioritizing their children, choosing privacy over spectacle, and focusing on meaningful work rather than performative appearances. The obsession with framing Meghan as angry or unsettled says more about the media than about her. Anger in women, especially women of colour, is often exaggerated and pathologized. It becomes a tool to discredit, invalidate, and undermine. Meghan's experiences fit squarely within that pattern. Harry's journey toward healing and reconciliation does not require Meghan to erase her own experiences. Both truths can coexist. He can seek peace with his father while she maintains distance from an institution that caused her harm. That is not a failure of marriage. That is a mature navigation of complex realities. Ultimately, stories like this thrive because they rely on familiarity. The audience has been trained to expect conflict drama and tension from Meghan and Harry coverage. But familiarity does not equal truth. It equals repetition. And repetition without evidence is not journalism. It is narrative maintenance. Meghan Markle is not growing angrier by the day. She is growing wiser, more protective and more intentional. Prince Harry is not running off in search of freedom. He is continuing a lifelong process of healing, reflection and growth. Their marriage is not defined by anonymous sources or speculative headlines. It is defined by the choices they make together every day, away from the noise. The real story is not about fear or anger. It is about resilience. It is about a couple refusing to be boxed into roles written by others. It is about redefining family partnership and well-being on their own terms. And that is precisely why these narratives keep resurfacing. Because independence, especially when chosen together, is threatening to systems that thrive on control. As always, the Sussexes move forward quietly, deliberately, and with purpose. The headlines will continue to shift. The sources will remain unnamed. But the consistency of Meghan and Harry's actions speaks louder than any manufactured alarm.